lives. That's huge, but a lot of probes are dying here. Finally, the Mortal goes down, and if he can just clean up this little army and get that Nexus, Loner will basically have this game in his pocket, but this is just a great pushback by NEXGENIUS. I cannot believe that he kept that Nexus alive.
I can't believe, I am speechless. That's I know my AD is Tasteless, but I'm actually speechless. Maybe I will go back to Tasteless and advance. I almost wonder if you should have just focus fired it and sacked the army, but then again, I guess that would kind of equalize the game again.
But Medevacs are out. Expansion going up for Loner. He's trying to do a little darting in and out antics right here, but NEXGENIUS is very low on money. Only has one half-finished Colossus. He needs to start getting those numbers up higher and higher, and Loner, for the first time ever, is actually loading units into the Medevac in the center of the map. He knows his opponent is low on units. Medevacs are very, very effective at picking off Lone Stalkers, and if he keeps this Medevac harass up, NEXGENIUS will crumble because of that very fast Colossus.
Now, the cool thing about this Medevac is it's going to draw the units into the main. If he also attacks the Nexus at the natural at the same time, he may be able to take it down while diverting the attention of NEXGENIUS. See, here comes the army of NEXGENIUS, and here are some units, but not quite enough to kill that Nexus. Here we go, the Colossus going up, and he is not going to attack this Nexus, unfortunately.
And the two Marines are not doing anything.
What, do these guys run out of bullets? I thought he was going to just go over there and attack the Nexus. Okay.
But the dropship, it is alive and well. The units went back into the natural, and here he comes for another drop. Nothing up here at all, but the Colossus making his way over and stimming. Will he? No, doesn't.
Wow. That is really the big danger of doing any sort of Medevac drop harass. You absolutely need to retreat if you are in an awkward position. If you lose that Medevac, you have had a huge dent to your play. So you have to be very, very careful, and this is what you don't want to have happen. The big counter push from NEXGENIUS.
Oh, this is going to be scary.
If you can get a force field up here over at this ramp, you can cut off the Terran, reinforcing his army, and that can result in straight up GG.
And it looks like NEXGENIUS swinging around. He force fields the bunker. Nothing can actually repair that properly. It's a very, very well-placed force field, but it looks like the Vikings are there chipping away at that Colossus. Remember, the Colossus does not have the range upgrade yet, so it cannot really perform too well in that fight.
Yeah, that was actually a nice defense there by Loner. The Vikings are really what made him decide, okay, I have to get out of here. If I lose this Colossus, I'm going to be in terrible shape. So now it looks like they are beginning to get a little bit more even. It looks like 78 supply against 83, pretty close, and there's just going to be a lot of aggression from here on out.
You can see NEXGENIUS is kind of debating almost, should I even engage right now? Because they both know getting the third base is going to be the nightmare situation. And of course, Loner does have Medevacs, which are pretty accessible for the Terran. It's not like you have to go out of your way to get them. So NEXGENIUS is in sort of an awkward position here.
Yeah, you know, if he can do a little bit more drop harass, he can just split up the army, keep NEXGENIUS busy, and then NEXGENIUS really can't attack him. That's kind of what Loner wants. He wants to stay 2-base versus 2-base for as long as possible.
And it looks like Loner wants to be the king of kiting, is only making Marauders. If you look back in his base, he has 5 barracks just churning them out. There's the good scan. Marauders are very, very versatile. They can deal good damage to almost all units, and because they're so fast, you can always pull back in time. And here's the big push from NEXGENIUS. I don't know if I like this push so much. Does he have that range upgrade? It is at 75% completion. Looks like that timing window for Loner is rapidly closing.
Note the positioning of the depots. That's very intentional. He wants to have all this stuff obstructing any zealots that would run in there so the Marauders can fire over them. And of course in StarCraft 2, you can actually sink your depots. See? See, I'm right. Just did it, thank you. And that means that if he needs to get his army out quickly, he could just sink them if he needs to be. Turtling, or if you're a noob, you don't know what turtling is, it's where you're hiding your base, then you can do that too.
And it looks like big push from Loner right now is trying to get in a good position. The Guardian Shield's going down. Can he deal enough damage? But uh-oh, this is probably the only closed off spot on the map, so that's why NEXGENIUS is trying to engage at that ramp.
That's right, he needs to keep those Marauders clumped up so that his Colossus does a lot of damage, and it looks like he's even going to throw down some photon cannons to help out. Those are pretty good against him overall, but here come the Vikings. This is going to be huge. He spreads out, and a lot of good force fields. The Vikings, though, doing huge damage to these Colossus.
Oh my goodness, he's taken out one. Can he take out a second one? It does go down, but that Marauder count is getting increasingly small, and there is only one Medevac to heal. There's the restem. The third Colossus falls. If he can possibly get more Marauders into this fray, he might be able to take it out, but it looks like NEXGENUIS is going to be retreating. Yet another almost completely even exchange.
That's right, the foods are so close. 95 supply, 101 supply against 101 now. These guys, they are just so evenly matched, but I like the army right now of NEXGENUIS. He's got, look at that, that's a pretty good army.
Yeah, he has about 7 Stalkers, a handful of Zealots, and 2 Colossi, but he needs to be careful. Looks like he's scanning himself, just wants to make sure he's not messing up.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's one wasted mule. He's trying to figure out the position of NEXGENUIS' army, which, by the way, he's been very mobile, so it's kind of hard to spot. Most lesser players just keep their army right here, but since he does have some map control, he's moving around the map, and here's finally the part where this starts to get awkward. They both have to get a third base.
Yeah.
And I think they're both going to try to hide an expansion somewhere up here.
That's right. It's hard to scout over there right now. You can't really use your scans. You can't really send units because you need them all for battle. So the SCV and the probe are going to be the only things that do go out there. Now, it looks like the SCV going up here. Whether it's to scout for a third base or expand himself, it's hard to say. Oh, he was going to scout. Probe was out of range. And now if he makes a Nexus there, it's going to be completely unknown to Loner.
Meanwhile, it looks like a big Marauder Viking force continuing to be produced. And if we look at the NEXGENUIS camp, his Colossus count isn't as high as it used to be, but it's the gateway unit count that's really scary. Marauders are quite bad against Zealots, so even though Loner does have a very large army, there's a little bit too much of those melee units there trying to poke around the base of NEXGENUIS. Oh no, the Twilight Council is only halfway finished. Twilight Council, very important at this phase because there's an upgrade that allows Zealots to move faster, so until that time, the Marauders will maintain strength.
That's right. If he can switch over to mostly Zealot and Immortal Army with Charge, that is going to crush the army that Loner has right now. It's almost pure Marauder, few Medevacs in there, and Vikings, and here we go. It looks like they may engage.
And there's the spread out. He stims, and he's already picked off one Colossus. The Zealot count is doing huge amounts of damage. The force fields are just splitting all of the Marauders. Oh no, all of Loner's units are taking huge amounts of damage. There's only one Colossus left. Can NEXGENUIS pull this off? The Colossus are all down. If it's just Marauders against Stalkers, the Marauders are in happy town, but no, more force fields, more Zealots streaming in. Looks like Loner is now having to land Vikings if he wants to stay alive, and all the SCVs trying to engage as well.
This is Loner's last chance. He has to try to hold off this attack. He has to rebuild. He's already been forced to pull his SCVs off. That's a sign that you are so desperate that it's the last resort. You can see he's late on his mule timing.
Looks like another attack coming here from NEXGENUIS. He has so many units, but you know, we've seen him make this mistake before. Will it be a mistake this time? Attacking once again while being ahead. And you can see in the supplies, not a huge distance ahead by 15, but Loner, he doesn't really have Vikings anymore. So few of them, it's going to be hard to take out the Colossus.
But there's a lot of Marauders there. If he can spread them properly, he can do a lot of damage. And here's the big push coming up from NEXGENUIS. Looks like Loner is not comfortable enough to engage. That Zealot count is just so high. And in the main of NEXGENUIS, oh no, forgot to get the charge upgrade. That could just be pivotal if Loner can get his foot back down and just return back to his usual play.
You can see that he was actually trying to bait him out here, just engaging these depots. He was hoping that the Terran would stim and rush forward, in which case NEXGENUIS would just run away, and it's a wasted stim. The Medevacs would have had to use up all their energy. Okay, he's going to try to do it again.
Uh-oh. Looks like lifting the orbital command, going to try to push out with all SCVs and Marauders, and NEXGENUIS just smartly pulling back to that ramp. It is really the smallest choke point on the map. Just wants to control right there. And here comes the stim and the engagement from Loner.
It looks like NEXGENUIS, he does not want to let this game fall out of his hands. He is definitely in control, and he keeps placing down these force fields to make sure that when they engage, it's exactly how NEXGENUIS wants it.
Well, looks like he did drive out the pylon. Now remember, well, Loner's hurting pretty bad right now. NEXGENUIS doesn't have a third base either. So let's see, if we look at the mineral patch, about 535 minerals over there. This one about 600. So they're almost dead even right now. Somebody's gonna have to get an expansion up here. Guardian Shield, he forces him to lift again and adroitly returns to the high ground position. This might be it. All the SCVs here are going to die.
The Colossi are trying to do as much damage as they can, and they are doing huge amounts of hurt. Only 20 food and good game. NEXGENUIS takes the series, winning 2 best-of-3s in a row. 4 wins in a row. NEXGENUIS is your StarCraft 2 Blizzcon 2010 champion.
Wow. Wow. That is so amazing. What a great tournament. A great way to end it. The guy who comes from the loser bracket, just giving no quarter, Day 9.
Absolutely unbelievable. And here's our champ, NEXGENUIS. Wave to the crowd, NEXGENUIS. Don't look at us. Indeed.
Give it up to him, guys.